One thing that keeps on getting mentioned, even in the comment sections of my shorts about pro bodybuilders, is that modern bodybuilding doesn't have the same conditioning as the one in the 90s. And I think there are several things that can skew the perception that we have of the conditioning of some athletes, because when you look at the live streams and even reels that are recorded, sometimes even in 4K with the latest cameras, the lights are so off and so different from shows in the 90s or even some in other countries like Japan that you do not really get the full look of that bodybuilder on that day. You don't get the real conditioning that they have. And so you start thinking and seeing patterns, and you think that all athletes are not conditioned right now. But then you see somebody like Josema Beast from Spain, and you realize that there are still athletes that are insane when it boils down to their conditioning. So what's happening? I think for the most part is this push for size. We have seen this even in the Classic Physique with the weight cap issues of athletes like Mike Sommerfeld and others like Ramon, which struggle to make weight. There's an intense push for size. I hate to point this out because it's like giving ammos to people that have been saying this for a really long time. There are some systemic issues that we continue to see. Even viewers or fans of bodybuilding and people that buy tickets and live streams are sick and tired of this. I really understand them, because when you have a lineup at the Olympia and just one or two competitors seem to be really conditioned, then we have a problem. So what did all these guys in the 90s do that was really different? I see a pattern even there, because I talk to old-time competitors that competed even in the country where I live in, which is Italy. And whenever I talk to somebody that competed in the 90s, just how they are built, just the quality of the tissue is very different. And somebody may argue, okay, the drugs were different. But then you start listening to them, and the level was really high. Even to get a pro card, even to be a pro bodybuilder, it was like a fantasy. It was like a dream. It wasn't a possibility that is widespread like today. There are some people in the comments that make the same arguments all the time. Now they give pro cards out like candies, and there's some truth to it, because when you see certain people that have a pro card, you're like, how the you got there? I even understand that. So the level was really high. So these guys had to do all they could, but they didn't have the same ancillaries of today. And so they had to do things with training and especially dieting. And their diets were really hard. I mean, I cannot tell you how many old-time bodybuilders that I've met that competed in the early 2000s and late 90s that were dieting on the mineralized water and basically meat and veggies without salt. Or if they added salt, it was little. It was just like a little sachet that we have here from a brand called Ristora. It's really interesting because you really see the pattern. You really see what was different. The diet was a sacrifice. And don't get me wrong, there were a lot of people that had troubles backstage. They were cramping hard. Posing was hard because of the cramps. So definitely, it wasn't all good. But definitely, these guys were doing a lot of things differently. And I think the solution is merging the two things, merging what was good about the old times and what's good about the new times, so that you end up with this blend that is better. It makes things better for everybody.